All right, go ahead.
A transformation is applied to a figure to create a new figure on a coordinate grid. Which transformation does not preserve congruence?
Does not preserve congruence. Perfect. And so as it says on the board, and we've been talking about, preserve means to keep, like keep food or keep something. Preserve means to keep. Congruent means to keep it identical, same size, same shape. Identical. And of course, this is saying which one does not preserve congruence. And we've talked about this quite a bit. But there's only one of your four transformations that does not preserve congruence, and that's the one that makes things bigger and smaller. Which transformation makes things bigger and smaller?
A dilation.
A dilation, that's right. So H is the obvious answer here. The reason I wanted to specifically talk about this for a second is because you're going to get this question, and I want every single person to get this question right. There is no reason. This should be a free question on your STAR test. The other way it could be asked is like number 2. Which one of these does not keep identical? Which one does not keep identical? Well, then you would have to know which of these is actually a dilation. Is D a dilation? No, I can see that X and Y rotated. I know this is a rotation. And since the negative is on the clockwise side, it's a rotation 90 degrees clockwise. C, X and Y did not rotate. There are no numbers, so I know it's a reflection. Right, reflection here. And since the Y got the negative, nothing happened to the X, I know it's over the X axis. B, what is B? What is this guy? When we see adding and subtracting, what is that? Good, this is a translation. And this particular translation, X plus means right 7. Y plus means up 7. Now the last one, you do have a scale factor that's being multiplied, so you should know that this is a dilation. Okay, so you have to take your knowledge 1 degree further and realize that, oh, this is the dilation. Dilations are the ones that does not preserve congruence. I'm going to let you do 3, 4. List the 3 transformations that are not dilations at the bottom, because they are the ones that do preserve congruence. They are the one that does keep them identical. Okay, once you get through with those 3, I'll give you about 1 minute, and then we're going to turn it over on the back. Thumbs up when you're there. Okay, so on the back, figure A is dilated, so that's the indicator that, hey, we're working with a dilation. And in your answer choices was the dilation rule with X given and Y given. Okay, so that means in the spaces provided, you simply have to determine what is the dilation, the scale factor that's going to make figure A to figure B go bigger or smaller. Okay, now since the dilation, the figure A, we go from figure A to figure B. Since we're going from A to B, then we know B came second. These are our prime points. And if we go from 8,4 to 12,6, are we making the thing bigger or smaller? If we go from 8 to 12, are we making the thing bigger or smaller? If we go from 4 to 6, are we getting bigger or smaller? Bigger. So we know if these numbers are getting bigger, then our scale factor over here is going to be greater than what? Going to be greater than 1, right? You had to know, oh, yes, it's new over old, and there's a pattern that says I'm going to multiply these numbers times some scale factor to get these new numbers. How do I find that? I'm going to take the new, I take the corresponding points. I'm going to take, actually I'm going to take these guys down here. I'm going to take the third set of points. I'm going to take the third set of points because they're the easiest numbers to work with because there are no negatives. The new points, 12, 6 will be my numerator because they're new. 8, 4 will be my denominator. And you can take either one, the x or the y, and you can turn them into a fraction. Either way, when you divide 12 divided by 8 or 6 divided by 4, you're going to get the same number. That's the scale factor. Okay, so let's pause here. Take your calculator out. Girls, I want you to do 6 divided by 4. Boys, I want you to do 12 divided by 8. Go. Zion, what is 12 divided by 8?
1.5.
Vivian, what is 6 divided by 4?
1.5.
1.5 is my scale factor. And that makes sense because I'm going up from 8 to 12 is 1.5 times 8. To go from 4 to 6, it's 1.5 times 4. To go from 8 to 12, it's 1.5 times to get from 8 to 12. From 8 to 12, 1.5 times. From 4 to 6, 1.5 times. From 2 to 3, 1.5 times. That's the pattern, is I'm going to multiply x times 1.5 and y times 1.5. The scale factor for this guy, if you typed in 1.5, you got them both correct. One more thing I want to add on these, because this was on Edugents. This counted off if you got this one separate from this one. They were each 20 points or something, okay? So also when you get to something where you have to type it in, you have to click save before you go to next. And the last thing I want you to remember is in 8th grade, these cannot be different numbers. They have to be the same number. So if you got a 3 over here and 1.5 here, that'll make no sense. Let's go to the second one. I'm going to do this one for next because it was the one that was in order. So I have a big triangle and a small triangle. If I have two triangles and one's bigger and one's smaller, you should already recognize by the picture it's not a translation, it's not a reflection, it's not a rotation. It can only be a dilation because did it get bigger or smaller? It's getting smaller because the prime marks are on the smaller triangle. So we know if it got smaller, the scale factor that we nicknamed K most often is nicknamed K, has to be less than what number? Has to be less than what number? Got to be less than 1. Our scale factor, just by looking at the picture, we know that the scale factor has to be less than 1. Let's look at our answer choices. Is 3 less than 1? Is 3 less than 1? Is this a dilation? X plus 3. No, that's moving the same object to the right. That's not right. How about y plus 3? That's a translation, moving this thing up. The only scale factor on this answer that's even possible, just by looking at the picture, the only scale factor that was possible is 1/3 x and 1/3 y. These are the ones that should have been dragged right there. Okay? Last one. And you'll see one similar to this. I'm going to start with the sentence with the question mark, which I'm so often going to ask you to do, and I'm going to look at my answer choices before I do anything. The sentence with the question mark, which ordered pairs best represents the location of point W? Point W, right? The location of point W. So I need to be able to start at 0, 0 and find the home of point W. Daniel, what is the home of point W? 4, -5. Okay? Now, if I look at, go back and look at the specific details, I can see that this says it is a dilation. And the scale factor in this case, they're going to nickname the scale factor N. Normally we nickname it K, but that's okay. They're going to nickname the scale factor N. It's going to be multiplied times x, and it's going to be multiplied times y. Okay, because the scale factor, the multiplier, is nicknamed N. Well, first of all, in our answer choices, are there any answer choices that are not dilations? Again? C and D. Those cannot be a correct answer. Okay? So now, then I look at the other two. Which one looks like a dilation? A looks like a dilation. B looks like a dilation. With these particular coordinate, the location of W has 4, -5. 4 and -5. So because the scale factor is a multiplier, that's how you would know that the correct answer should have been B. Okay? And that was the correct answer on this particular test. All right, so that's a review for those questions on this quick check. Go ahead and make sure the front is completed. Let's look at this very top. What do you think these words are? Preserve, congruence, close enough. And what are these words? Keep identical. I would like for your name to be on it. Your class period, I'm going to take these up right now.